Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's weekly live attorney chat here at Immigration for Couples. I'm attorney Megan Pastrana, and I host these weekly live chats because I know that the immigration process can be overwhelming and it's a bit of a labyrinth. And I want to create a community here, and that's what we've done is create a community where you can find support and advice and information about going through and navigating the couple-based immigration process in the United States. And I created a free resource center with my team. We created this with a lot of love and care and consideration, and it's on our website, immigrationforcouples.com. I have that on the ticker there below. And so if you go to our website, you'll see that free resource center, and we have tons of evidence guide. And if you're just starting out, I really encourage you to check out the webinar that I created. In the webinar, I go over in detail the different options that are available to couples, the eligibility requirements, how to prove your relationship, and how to navigate the US immigration process, how to thrive in that process, not just survive it. And I know we have a lot of individuals who are watching here live, some of our regulars, which is awesome to see everyone. And if you are new, though, welcome. It's great to have you here. If you've been here before, welcome back. And if you're watching on the replay, please do a hashtag replay. I do look at all of the comments and questions. If you have a question, likely someone else has that same question. And it gives me, information about what you are all needing, so I can create more video content and answer all of your questions and give you support and clarity. So I am streaming live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. If you have questions, throw them in the comments. I have a nice handy little system here that gives me the questions in the order that I receive them. I know some of you come early to ask your questions in advance, and I will go through as many questions as I can here today in the next 30 or so minutes that we have together. I always like to start out with asking all of you, and I know some of you already know the drill, where are you at in the world? I love to see where everybody is at. And I think it's nice for all of you to see, look at all of these individuals we have here today that are going through the immigration process. You're not alone. We're in a community. So tell me, where are you at in the world? And also, if you're willing to share, where are you at in your immigration journey? Are you just starting out? Are you in the middle of the process? We have some people who have finished their case and are here for support. So where are you at in your immigration journey, and how are you feeling? All right. So let's dive in here. I think Fatima is the first question that I have in the queue. So you you put in your question early. You were ready to go. So your question is really, you had a couple different parts to it, but essentially, you're married. You fell in love by talking on the phone. You said that you have an age difference, and that you're wanting to know, is this going to be a red flag? So you clarified there. Is that age difference going to be an issue? Is that going to be a red flag? Immigration has a very long list. I mean, a super long list in their policy manual, and that's really internal. It's an internal policy manual for adjudicators, for the officers that are reviewing the case. Of course, as an expert practicing immigration attorney for over a decade and helping thousands of couples, literally, I am very familiar with all of those red flags and know intimately what immigration officers are looking for. So what is a red flag? And why does immigration have this long list of red flags? These red flags are aspects of the case, the background, the facts of the relationship that an adjudicator, like an officer, is supposed to look at and take into consideration in determining whether or not they believe that you have a real relationship based on love, that it's a bona fide relationship. It's a bona fide marriage that is based on love and not to receive an immigration benefit. So your concern about an age gap, and so I think you said that you are 20 and that he is 55. So you're wanting to know, is that age gap going to be a red flag? And so yes, immigration does consider an age gap a red flag. So what happens if you have a red flag in your case? Does it mean that you're going to just automatically be denied? No, but it is your burden for any couple who is going through the immigration process. It is your burden. You're asking for this immigration benefit. It's your responsibility to prove to immigration that you have this real love. If you have a red flag, then that makes that burden even higher, or it makes it more of an uphill battle. So it's really important to be very strategic, and the evidence that you present and the way that you present your case to immigration. And so we've helped many couples who have red flags still be able to get their case successfully approved, because one, we are aware that that is a red flag, and two, we know how to help you be proactive and how to show immigration your love story. So yes, it is a red flag, and we'd be happy to help you still file your case and get your application approved. I'm happy to speak with you in private if you're wanting to do that. There is a phone number below, or also the website at immigrationforcouples.com, and you can schedule that appointment with me, and we can talk on Zoom or by phone. So, but yeah, that's a great question. Some other red flags. Sorry, my dog just my dog just coughed. I don't know if you heard that. Yeah, I let my puppy hang out in here, and usually he's quiet. But so there are other red flags, such as prior immigration filings. So if you have filed for someone in the past and this is your second immigration application, or if you've had prior marriages in the past that ended in divorce. So if there's prior marriages for both of you or one of you, that's something that they look at. Relationships that don't have a lot of joint financial evidence. Again, like I said, the list is very, very long, but I just wanted to kind of give you an idea. So great question. I know that'll be helpful for others who probably have a similar question. So Clara, so you said you didn't write your question correctly last time. All right, so let's see. You said you wanted to try to write it better. So you want to know if you can come to the U.S., get married, leave, then come back again on ESTA and and I think you mean adjustment of status, perhaps. Okay, so you have a couple different parts here. And I know you said, and you had a separate message here, that you said you want to avoid the I-130 wait time. So that, outside of the US. So can you come to the US and get married and then leave? So technically, I mean, yes, it is possible to come to the US on a tourist visa or ESTA and get married. The issue, though, is that if you come to the United States with the intention to get married, and the intention, more importantly, not to get married, but with the intention to stay and file for your adjustment of status, that is not in alignment with the law. So immigration doesn't, and I completely understand like exactly what you're thinking. So many couples think this because you're looking for a solution to be together as soon as possible. And logically, adjustment of status would allow you to do that. So logically, you want to do that. Unfortunately, legally, that's not allowed. Adjustment of status is for individuals who are already in the United States and didn't come with that intention to adjust status. And intention is a complex thing. We're talking about the thoughts in your head, in your mind. What is your intention? That's all very internal. And it's hard to prove, right? But immigration will determine your intention through the circumstances surrounding your entry. So for adjustment of status, or for individuals who are eligible for adjustment of status, that's typically someone who's here already, like on a tourist visa, for example. And I'm sorry, on a student visa, for example. So the person is here on their student visa and they're studying, they're in university, they meet, they fall in love with someone, and then they decide later to get married and adjust status. So that person came with that I keep saying that came with that student visa with the intention to study and then fell in love. So when you're talking about coming on a tourist visa or ESTA, the reason that you'd be coming on that is for a short visit for tourism purposes. But if you already have an established relationship, if it is to the point that you're wanting to get married, if you were to come later and, if you were to come in to get married and then come later on that tourist visa and adjust your status, that is going to be circumstances that immigration is going to look at and say, whoa, it looks like you came with this intention. And if you were to file an adjustment of status, what happens is that if immigration decides that you had the wrong intention, that you were coming with that intention to stay here, to adjust status, and to avoid doing the longer I-130 process, they can hit you with fraud and misrepresentation, that you lied to immigration. And that is a place that you don't want to be. because if you end up filing your adjustment and they find that you have fraud and misrepresentation, they will deny your green card application. Yes, you can file a waiver of forgiveness. It's a long and expensive process, and you're having to ask immigration literally to forgive you. And that's, again, it's just not a position you want to be in. And you also risk being sent to immigration court. And someone that's entering on ESTA, that if you enter on ESTA and you overstay your ESTA and then you have immigration violations and issues, ESTA is not a visa. It's not like a tourist visa. So with ESTA, you literally are signing that you know that you are only to come up to 90 days, that you won't violate your ESTA status, and that you know that if you violate your status, you're basically consenting to not getting to have your day in immigration court. So individuals with ESTA are particularly vulnerable to having a lot of complexities arise from trying to, circumvent immigration laws. And I know that you're not wanting to circumvent immigration laws, that's why you're asking that question, to get clarity. And so I'm glad that you are doing that, because for individuals with ESTA, if they violate their status, if they don't follow the immigration laws, they actually can be just immediately deported without the right to have a hearing. So that was a lot of information, but your question is complex. And I hope that I was receiving your question properly and that gives you clarity. And I'd definitely be happy to speak with you in a consultation. I know you said you're caring, you're caring for your sick grandparents, and that you're not wanting to have that long, the long wait. I'd be happy to speak with you in a consultation about your options and help you identify what is going to be the fastest path. What are things you can do proactively to, make the process go faster in the sense of proaction and being ready. So I'd be happy to speak with you in more detail. You're welcome to call the office or schedule on the website. Otherwise, I hope that helped and gave you clarity. All right. So I have a lot of people here. I'll try to do as many as I can. All right. Okay, great. So congratulations. You got married. Congratulations on the marriage. And now you are expecting a little one. So lots of congratulations are in order. That's awesome. And you want to know where I should start filing the process. Where should I start filing the process of taking my wife to the US? So the process as a US citizen to bring your spouse to the United States is called a spouse visa, if that individual is living abroad. So the spouse visa process starts with a petition, and then it moves on to something called the National Visa Center, and then eventually an interview. So that's kind of the 30,000 foot view, but you start that process with the petition. And I really encourage you to check out their free resource center. Check out the spouse visa section. I have a lot of videos about the spouse visa process, and you can see in more detail each of those steps. All right. Congratulations, though. That's a lot of really, really wonderful changes in your life. Let's see, who's next? All right. So you want to know if I can elaborate on whether it makes a difference between filing personally, so DIY, or hiring an immigration attorney, especially when an age gap between couples is over 35 and can cause red flags. So yeah, one of the red flags that we talked about earlier. So I will be honest, you are not legally required to hire an immigration attorney, but the difference in hiring an expert immigration attorney and DIY is really like a lot of things in life. The choice to DIY something or to hire a professional is you hire someone that is a professional, that is an expert, that is a guide, that you can leverage their expertise so you can have peace of mind and knowing that you're in expert hands. For you, this is your first and hopefully only immigration case. As I mentioned earlier, my team and I have literally helped over 1,000 couples and individuals successfully navigate the immigration process. We know the immigration process intimately. The other consideration with deciding DIY or doing it on your own and hiring an immigration attorney is your risk tolerance. So especially when there are red flags like an age gap. And even in cases where it seems like you have a simple, straightforward case, right? I hear some people say that. You're talking about a bureaucratic system. So what is your your risk tolerance, for not knowing about a certain thing on the form that you should have filled out properly, or another step that you should have taken, or evidence that should have been submitted. What if you make an innocent mistake and it causes you many, many months of delay or more government fees? What is your risk tolerance? Are you available for that? Is that something that you are wanting to risk by doing it on your own? And another consideration is really, what is your bandwidth in terms of time and energy? We all live busy lives, and if you have your career and other things that you're navigating and managing in your life, do you really have the time and energy to teach yourself immigration law? And then also the stress and the anxiety of, am I doing it right? So at the end of the day, your decision, anyone's decision to do it on their own or hire an immigration attorney, is a very individual decision. It'll ultimately be up to you, going over those things that I just went over. What feels right for you? What is it that you're wanting for your immigration experience? So that is the advice I give for that question. All right. And I have some individuals here on here on Instagram. Dennis says, it certainly helped us using your services. During the immigration interview, some people were declined due to having missing information or documentation. Yeah, and that's always heartbreaking. You're so excited to get to your interview, and then to have that setback, for sure. So I'm happy to hear it. It's been a pleasure. Okay, and then who do I have next in the queue? So you are asking about marriage, and age for marriage. So you had an arranged marriage approved by your parents at age 16. Can your husband file for the visa now, or does he have to wait until I reach 18? So, and yes, and you're asking, will it cause red flags? When is it normal when it's normal in our culture? So pick where to start, because most of the time when I receive a question, there's multiple parts to it, and I want to see which place to start. So immigration doesn't have necessarily an age requirement outlined for the spouse visa process. The petitioner has to be 18 to be able to sign the affidavit of support, which is part of the immigration process. And then in terms of marriage, that the age at marriage is really going to depend on where you're getting married. Some places the marriage age is 18. You could get married at 17 with parental consent. So the first thing is it a legally binding marriage where the marriage occurred? So if you were married and it was a legally binding marriage, and that the age requirements, that you were in alignment with the age requirements, and you have a legally binding marriage, then in general, it's fine to move forward with the spouse visa. Will it cause red flags? Yes, it can. Immigration does look at age, even though there's not a requirement. They will take age into consideration. They take age gaps into consideration. And then for younger couples, they're going to also look at that as a red flag. They have concerns with, younger couples getting married because there have been, issues in the past, especially with the fiance visa. And that's why there's so many additional requirements with the fiance visa, like of the petitioner disclosing criminal history and things like that, because in the past, sadly, there's been issues of human trafficking. So immigration will take that into consideration for that reason. And then also they look at younger marriages with a little bit closer eye, because sometimes you might not have as much, relationship evidence. You're just, you're really starting out in life. And so it can be a red flag. Like I said earlier on our video here today, or earlier in our call here today, there's so many red flags that immigration can look at when they're reviewing a case. And so it's just really important to make sure, first and foremost, that your marriage is legally binding where it occurred. And then secondly, that you have the evidence that shows your particular love story and overcomes any possible perceptions that officer will have in reviewing your case. So hopefully that helps answer your question. Okay, so you want to know that after the approval of the I-130, your case is at NVC. Can we send the NVC fees by mail, or is the online payment mandatory? So the National Visa Center has the option to pay the fees, and it does have to be online. So you'll have to follow those instructions that are given to you by the National Visa Center, and typically that will say you have to pay those fees online. Okay. So priorities, which cases do they prioritize more? Do they prioritize conditional or permanent resident cases for spouses? So, for those of you who don't know all of the alphabet soup that exists in immigration, there's a CR1 that's issued to individuals who are married for less than 2 years at the time of the green card issuance. And then the IR is for an immediate relative. They've been married for longer than 2 years at the time of the green card. So each embassy kind of has their own particular flavor, if you will, for priorities. However, in general, immigration's position is that cases will be interviewed in the order of being documentarily qualified. There's typically not going to be preference given to a conditional or an immediate relative category. They're not going to typically prioritize them in that way. It's typically what immigration says, what the embassies say is that they prioritize the visas in the order that they've been documentarily qualified. Okay, let's see who is next. Oh, Ginger, it's great to have you with us. I know you're not with your boyfriend, and you're watching from the UK now. Hopefully he's coming to be able to visit you for the holidays. And I'm glad you've enjoyed the Christmas videos. My puppy even got to be in one of them. I don't know how he felt about that, but I'm glad that those have been helpful. So when you log into the USCIS website, they ask for a verification code. Yeah, for the security, the two-factor authentication, and you're wanting to get it changed to your email. So that should be something that you can do once you've logged into the account to change your two-factor authentication. And if you can't, then you have to call USCIS, and that is always a mixed bag as to whether you're going to get the help you need. But they do typically have a if you look for USCIS technical support, they have a different contact, and they would be able to help you. So good luck with your online account. Okay. Well, okay. So you filed your petition. So congratulations. That's awesome. So you're in the queue. Let the countdown begin. And they're saying that you won't hear anything on your case until October of probably of next year, obviously. So yes, the I-130 petition right now is taking a solid 12 to 15 months is what we're seeing. And you're saying, why is that? Because they have enormous delays, and they aren't great about giving too much public information about what's happening internally. And so the wait times are unfortunately very long for the spouse visas. My team and I, we are members of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. As a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, I work with attorneys across the country to hold USCIS accountable essentially for these extremely long, really inhumane wait times, and getting to the bottom of this question that you're asking. Why is that? Can you please review the application? Our clients need to be together. These couples need to be together. And also, reaching out to congressional representatives, senators, letting them know the impact that this experience and this wait time is having on your relationship in life. Also remembering, and I say this as someone who's not just a practicing immigration attorney who's helped thousands of couples, but also as someone who's gone through the process personally with my husband, I know the wait times, they're hard, and life has a lot of difficult things that come up, right? And it builds your resiliency. So remember that together you are a team, you are going through this difficult process, and it's going to really strengthen your union going through this together. I know you want to be together soon. I totally understand and respect that. And I am wishing you all the best for a decision faster than October of next year. Okay. So this is Sheila. So this was really the question that I was asked earlier by Clara. And the answer is no, you cannot come to the United States on a visitor's visa and then apply for your green card. So citizenship is different than a green card. US citizenship is something that comes after a person has a permanent resident status and green card. And it's also not legally permissible to come with that intention. USCIS has something called a 90-day rule. It is not a law. It is not guaranteed that if you file after the 90 days that you will be approved. You can still have that issue because immigration is going to look at the circumstances. If you already have this established relationship, if you've gone and visited each other a lot, you have this relationship, it's likely that the intention was that you came, you knew the rule, that you wanted to just stay until like day 91 and then file. And so I sadly have a lot of individuals, and I'm so glad you're asking this, Sheila, because I have so many individuals who read this online and hear this, that people say this online that, oh, I just came on this tourist visa and then I got married after the 90 days and then we filed and it's okay. But it's not. I've had a lot of couples who've come to me who've read that, who think, oh, I can do that. Let's do that. We want to be together. And I understand. I totally understand that you want to be together. And the law is just not in your favor to do this. And then I'll have individuals come to me who've done that. And they say they went to their interview and had a really bad experience, and that the immigration officer was telling them that they were lying and committed fraud. And now they're they have this fraud and misrepresentation on their file and a waiver and possible, immigration court proceedings. It's extremely risky. And frankly, to kind of help all of you understand too, if someone comes to me in a consultation and wants to do this, I explain to them why it's not possible. And legally, as an attorney, I took an oath of something called candor to the tribunal, that I will be honest, that I will help my clients navigate the immigration system and follow the law. And I would not help. But, I would not be able to help with that process if someone who had that intention, right? There are times where adjustment of status makes perfect sense, but please talk with an immigration attorney and get help before doing something like that. So I'm so glad you're asking this question, Sheila, so we can clarify. And good morning to you as well. Rebecca from Philly, great to have you with us. Jasmine from Florida, awesome to have you. Let's see. I'm not sure what you mean that you filed a welcome court for your fiance. Can I still file the K-1? Oh, because you filed the I-134A. Okay, now I understand. Typically it is possible to still do the fiance visa. It depends. I'll just say it depends. It depends on the specifics of that other case, but typically you can. If you don't have an immigration attorney, definitely consult with an immigration attorney. I'd be happy to meet with you in private to talk more about what that looks like. But I definitely have still helped couples to switch course so that I-134A didn't pan out, or to have a backup option, have a second bite at the apple. It can be possible. All right. Brian, and you are starting the removal of condition process, and you're in Maryland. So that's great. The removal of conditions process, that's good. You think you get the green card and you're done, but immigration is still knocking on your door saying, hey, can you prove your relationship again for us? So good luck with that process. All right. So Clarissa, it's great to have you here, and good morning to you as well. You're wanting to know, under the new administration, do you think the processing times will improve or worsen? Ever since this current administration came into play, processing times have done nothing but gone up, and I feel like we'll fall into the cracks. Yeah, I know the wait times are painful. I will say that under the current administration, the spouse visa wait times have gone up, but there are a lot of case types that the wait time has gone down. Fiance visas have come back down in the wait times. Naturalization has come down in wait times. And it's really important to understand, yes, who is president, changes in the president, changes in the administration definitely have an impact. Immigration law and the world of immigration, unfortunately, it's part of politics. And so definitely changes in administration can have an impact. And it's important to understand immigration has had systemic issues for many, many years, and the wait times have continued to go up every year. They are a roller coaster. So sometimes wait times go up, and then we just saw them, drastically go down. For example, for the fiance visa, it's a little bit like whiplash, I know, for couples who are going through the process. USCIS announced, it would have been 2 years ago, while after we were getting through the pandemic, they were announcing, hey, this is our internal goal. We want to reduce the wait times for spouse visas, for fiance visas, and they had all of their goals laid out. And in order to meet those goals, they had to hire and train more officers. They actually have done that. They need to hire way more people, and they need to become way more efficient, right? But there's a lot of complexity in all of that and fixing that. But they did hire more officers, and we did see the wait time go down for like citizenship cases and fiance visa cases. But the wait time overall definitely needs to be addressed. I will say under the prior Trump administration, we did see wait times go up quite a bit. And we were also in a pandemic, and immigration was having the funding issues that they're having now. So we will see. I will tell you that for everyone, just know that immigration is always a bureaucratic process. It always involves jumping through a lot of hoops. We will likely see a lot of changes. I don't have a crystal ball. I can draw from what I saw during my 4 years under that administration. But my team and I, we are expert hoop jumpers. We are not going to give up fighting. We're going to keep working and helping everybody to get through their immigration process into the finish line. So hopefully that helps all of you. Yeah, Michelle, you're saying you're feeling frustrated, and that's normal. And I would say I felt frustration as well when I was going through the process with my husband. And my team and I, we feel frustration too. That's one of the feelings that arise when dealing with immigration, like the NVC CX system continually not cooperating. And that's normal. And let that feeling of frustration be there. We, as humans, part of the human experience is feeling all the different feelings, frustration being one of them. Letting it be there, and then also trying to do what is called holding duality. So while the immigration process can be very frustrating and stressful, you can also find gratitude. And so I know you said you filed your petition, so you can have gratitude or a celebration that you are in that line and you are one day closer, right? Thinking of it that way, and then think of all the things that we have, that you have, any of us have to be grateful for. I'm grateful that I woke up this morning, that there's a sunny day, that I have my husband, I have my puppies, I have joy in my life, I love my work in the world. So those are some examples. We all have something to be grateful for. And so letting that be present and holding those dualities, and hang in there. You will get to the finish line. So you're wanting to know advantages of getting married in the US or getting married outside of the US. And being able to work or not. So it's really going to depend on your eligibility. So some couples are only eligible for one path. Other couples might be eligible for two, sometimes possibly more paths. Usually it's a matter of you have one option or two. And where you get married isn't necessarily going to impact your path. Without knowing all the specifics of your particular situation and immigration history, I can't say conclusively what would be better for you. Typically, where you get married isn't going to be a factor in like saying that one option is better than another. I am happy to meet with you in private, and we can really dig into all the specifics of your situation, your case, your relationship, your goals, and I can give you my customized advice during a strategy call. All right, and the link is below to schedule. Okay, so we are at time here. I do need to jet, but I wanted to just get some of these final comments in here. You're very welcome, Clara. I'm so glad that was helpful. And Lisa, you're doing some window shopping. I love that every week you're doing something different. You are just out and about all the time. Okay. Let's see if anybody else had any comments about where they're at in the petition. And okay. All right. So these are really great questions. And we are at time. I will go through them as I mentioned. And like I said, a lot of your questions, if you have the questions, somebody else does, and I do go through them. And then that is what I use to make, video content and supporting resources and information for all of you. So have a wonderful rest of your week. And I will see you all next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Hang in there. If you're going through the immigration process, hang in there. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. You will get to the finish line. And on my firm's website, immigrationforcouples.com, we have some testimonial videos. And while they're talking about the experience working with our firm, I think if you can see couples who have successfully made it through the process, that you'll find that inspiring. So you can check that out. And best of luck to everyone. You will get to the finish line, I promise. All right. Take care. See you next week. Bye.